folks would be what, 40, 50 years old today?
Yeah, they would be in their late 40s and early 50s. See,
Okay.
that would put it right after the atomic bomb.
Right.
The first wave began to come in. They had a very difficult time. They had a terrible time adjusting.
The baby boomers.
Oh, that's the third wave. Let's get into the other second wave first.
No. People in their 40s and 50s.
Oh, 40s and 50s. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
About that age?
They were the baby boomers.
Another characteristic of these first wave, they don't like violence, but they can't understand emotion. Anger and fear upset them and paralyze them to where they can't handle it. So many of them kind of remain as loners.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because the whole emotional thing of Earth is just so chaotic. See, Earth is a very challenging planet, and they said you're very brave to come to Earth and want to experience what's here. We're here to learn emotions and limitations, and some people that's very difficult. But this new wave, can you imagine not having any experience in Earth and coming right into it? It'd be very difficult for them.
Sure.
And many of the ones I've talked to were suicidal, and some of them were on antidepressants. But once we found out where it was coming from, they've gone off the antidepressants. Okay, the second wave are different. They are in their 20s and their 30s now. They're just below the age group of the first wave.
Okay.
I call them the antennas, the channelers, the generators. This is what they're called. They're different. They didn't have near the problem that the first wave did. They are here not to do anything. They're just here to be. Their energy that they generate in their body affects everyone they come in contact with. Can you see how this is going to help change the world?
Are these people like healers?
Well, they can be if they want to be, but most of them, they just live for themselves, or they work from home. They're very gentle people, but they say they could walk through a mall of people or a grocery store and affect everyone that they came in contact with.
They're positive people.
Very positive energy.
Okay.
And both of these groups don't want to have children. Now, when they come in, they said there's like a shield, I guess you would say, put over them so they cannot accumulate karma. It's to keep them from accumulating karma. And majority of them don't want children because children causes karma when you have children. They want to do their job and get out of here. They don't want to be stuck on Earth. They want to go back to where they came from. They're just a volunteer.
But many of them are here for how many years at each time?
A lifetime.
Lifetime.
Yeah. Because the first one I met is now in his early 50s, and he's always had a problem adjusting. He's a very gentle person, but he's hanging in there anyway. But
and this is the second wave you're talking about.
Yeah, the second wave, you wouldn't even know them. They just blend in very easily. They don't have the problems. And I asked them, why did the first one have so many problems where the second wave didn't? They said somebody had to be the beginning. Someone had to be the pioneers. They were the way showers. They had to blaze the trail. That's why they had so much difficulty. Then the second group were easier for them to follow. Now, a lot of these people, these waves, it was difficult for their energy to enter into a fetus because their energy is so different than a normal human being. So this is where the ETs had to come into play again, because often the energy had to be manipulated and changed, and especially the energy of the mother, so that the mother could handle the energy of this incoming different type of soul, I guess you would say, because we're all souls and spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in the beginning, the energy would be too strong and the baby would die. The fetus would die before it was born because it couldn't handle it. The mother's energy, it was too different. So then it had to be adjusted again. Sometimes only a part of the energy of the soul could come in so that the mother could handle it. And this is where you hear stories of somebody will say, well, my mother had a child before me, but it was born dead or it was aborted. And because they couldn't handle the energy. Then the second time they were able to come through. And then as they grow older, the rest of the energy of the soul is brought in. And I know this is a little complicated for some people to understand. This is the kind of stuff I'm getting now in my Convoluted Universe book. But,
well, and as you say, they're coming from people in trance states, right?
Yes, and these are normal, everyday people. You would never know them if you saw them on the street. The third wave are the new children, and we're all familiar with them now. And they are the ones, they are called the gift to the world.
Are these the indigo kids?
Well, that word is not really applicable anymore, because we call them the new kids on the block, the star children. They're different. Their energy is different. They come in knowing so much more. And they said the DNA has already been changed. Now, our DNA is being worked on constantly. This is part of the abduction stuff. Everything that is happening has to do with the DNA is being changed. Because you remember the original idea was to have a species that would have no disease and would never die.
Well, the pharmaceutical companies will love that, won't they?
Oh, yeah. But they're very concerned about the effects of the additives in our food and the pollutants in the air and what we're doing to our bodies. That explains a lot of the abductions with the examinations. They're trying to find cures for cancer and for all the other diseases. And when this happens, they will give these subconsciously to different scientists so they can develop cures on their own. But also, the DNA is being manipulated so that we don't get sick and we will live longer. And the children are coming in with it already in place. And you know, George, I just read an article, I'm going to do some more research on it, that the scientists are doing examinations of our DNA. They are finding something definitely has happened. That
that's interesting.
We are turning into a totally new species of human. That our DNA is different than it was even 20, 30 years ago.
And they can't figure out what's going on, can they?
No, they said we are turning into a species that cannot get sick. So I said, aha, they're finally beginning to find proof of it. I asked them one time, won't the scientists know something? The doctors notice something is different. They said no, because they won't know what to look for. But it's there, and they said a lot of these people that I've worked with won't get sick because they're not supposed to go to the doctor. So there's a lot of things happening, but I don't want people out there to get scared. This is not, it's not demonic, it's not negative. It shows how they are helping the world.
You think it's a complicated, huge project, but you think it's a wonderful project, don't you?
I do, because it's to save the world. Otherwise, they said, we're going to destroy ourselves. And they can't allow that to happen.
At what point, though, Delores, do they overtake in terms of numbers those greedy people, those warmongering people who have put us in the position we're in today? When do they really start to help?
Start to help or start to hurt?
No, when do the good ones start to help?
Oh, they're already helping. They're helping in more ways than you know.
You mean without them it would be even worse than it is now?
Oh, definitely. That's what they said. Now they think by sheer numbers, they have turned the corner, and there's a possibility now the world will be saved.